I'm back. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Finally, I'm back. So for those of you who do not know, I have been out for probably over a month and a half with COVID. Then that struck me, and then got a really bad case of bronchitis, but now I'm finally back making content for you all. And I tell you, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for you. With all of your get well wishes and vote of encouragement and positive, vibes and stuff like that coming across. Thank you for all of the messages. Thank you for all of the comments that you guys have been sending me and everything. It's been very encouraging, and I love you guys. I mean, I really do. There's nothing better than a content creator getting on here and busting their butt with making these videos and having you guys watch them and appreciate them. And I'm so thankful for that. Thank you so much. So this may be a little longer video than normal because I think in my last video, the little short video I did when I was starting to get better, I didn't really go over a lot of things that are going to be upcoming on the channel. And I kind of wanted to take that opportunity with you throughout this video to really get into that and tell you about some of the things and some of the changes that I'm going to be doing to the channel. And it's not a bad thing, it's a great thing. So if there was a silver lining out of getting COVID or getting sick or whatever like that, it really gave me time to reflect on what direction I wanted to head into this year for you guys. And I'm looking forward to it. So first, we got a Magneto back here that I need to show you guys. This has been a hell of a project between getting sick and man, just the complexity of this thing. It's huge. It's a big model. It's probably the biggest undertaking that I've ever done in 35 plus years of painting and doing models. I filmed a lot of this while I was sick. You'll be able to hear in my voice. I did not film every single little thing, but what I did do was I filmed things that I felt like maybe you could get out of this video. Some little things here and there that I did. It's the first video back. If I filmed everything, this would probably be like a 2-hour long video, and I know you guys will not sit through this for 2 hours, but hey, let's go ahead and get into some of this.
All right, so now we have 4 heads that we need to paint. We got the 2 with the helmet with the different expressions and the 2 without the helmet with the different expressions. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to lay the base down for the skin tones. And I'm not going to show you how to paint all 4 of these because it would just take way too much time. So most likely what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to paint one of the unhelmeted and one of the helmeted figures.
So for the heads, I got a couple of these already completed, and we're going to work on the other 2, but this is what we're going for on both of these. Now the first one here on the helmeted, I'm actually using this Createx pearlized red, and it almost kind of looks a little pinkish on film, but it is totally a metallic red when you see it in person. And for the purple here, I've actually mixed up another Createx, a lighter purple and a darker purple together to kind of get a good blend here. As you can see on the helmet, I've actually done a little bit of weathering on it too. So I don't like my Magneto all cutesy and everything. I like him a little bit of, like he's been in a little bit of a battle. So let's go ahead and pick up on the other helmeted version and go from there. So for the sake of time on the video, I've already painted the red on the helmet, the metallic, and I've also painted the inside where the skin tones are in there. So now what I'm going to do is on the purple part around the helmet, I'm going to use this purple right here to go ahead and lay down a coat on this before I actually put this pearlized down. That way I'm not having to put so many coats on this helmet here. All right, so now that I got that base purple down on the helmet, I'm gonna go back over it with this purple mix that I did here. And I think I said earlier it was Createx, but it wasn't. It is the Aztec Testors Purple. I used this pearl purple here and mixed a little bit of the white pearl, and that's how I got this little bit of a lighter type of purple here mixed up in this cup. And then that's what I'm going to use on the trim. So now the helmet is all painted with the purple and the red. We're going to put some weathering onto it a little bit later. But now what we're going to do is start our shading on the skin tones on the face. And the way I did this was I mixed up a little bit of watered down pinkish red tone, and I'm actually going to apply it into different parts of the face, like the eyes, the nose, the lips, high cheekbones and everything. Every place it's supposed to be kind of like a little bit of a tint to it, from the pink like the red type of areas in your hands and your face and stuff. And I'm going to go into a little bit more in depth into a future video, but I'm going to kind of go ahead and get this all taken care of now and get the rest of this head done. Okay, so now that we have all that finished, it's time to move on to the eyes, and I'm going to use this off-white like I always do. This time I'm going to use this, I got this Tamiya modeling brush right here. I do have a link below in the description for its affiliate link, but this thing is really good about getting into eyes. Those really small detailed areas, it makes it so much easier to get into there. Alright, and I painted in the pupils, and now we're going to paint in the irises here, and the eyes will be all done. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is the hair in the back, and for the base I'm going to use a light gray, and then I'm going to do some dry brushing over the top of it with a cold white to bring out the gray and the white, kind of like in this head sculpt right here. So we're going to get a little bit of contrast up in there and put some hair on Magneto.
Alright, so on Magneto's body here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it with this Vallejo flat red. Just a basic red. I'm going to thin it down and paint the whole entire body with the exception of basically the belt and all that. So if I get some overspray on it, it's not going to be a big deal. One thing I should point out is what I like to do on my reds, especially with this model here, is I like to do a basic dusting coat, which basically will allow the paint to bite on the next coat into the primer. And another reason I'm doing this is because it's kind of cold in my workroom right now. So if I put it on too heavy in certain areas, I'm going to get runs and all kinds of stuff. So what I like to do is I like to just go over it, just do a little skim coat on it. Once that dries, I'll accelerate it with a hair dryer. Just basically use a hair dryer just to kind of help speed the process along. And then I'll go in and I'll add another thin coat. Also, the third reason is because Magneto's suit here has such fine texture and details that I want to make sure that that red makes them really pop out of there. So on to the next coat. Okay, so here is the body. This is about after 3 coats, and I have sealed it. I do seal large areas like this, like I've said in previous videos, so that I can handle it and I won't smudge any of the paint or get any fingerprints into the paint job. And if you're curious as to what I seal with, it's a rattle can. This is the best stuff that I've ever used. So it makes the color a little bit more vibrant. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. And what we'll do once we get ready to paint the rest of the body. We're going to put the purple on there next, but we'll go ahead and we'll tone this down with some deep shading here from just a little bit of a deeper red, and this guy will just be almost finished. So all right, so now I'm getting ready to do some highlighting on Magneto's suit here. And I'm gonna do that before, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do the shading before I do any of the purple metallic or any of that on there, because I don't want to get any overspray on any of the purple, and I'm not masking this off. So what I'm doing is I'm using the same flat red that I used on the suit, and I'm hitting it with just a little bit of off-white. Maybe a drop or two. If you put too much in this, it's gonna look pink. So what I like to do is I like to use just something just to break it up. I mean, that's like one drop in there. And then I'm gonna thin it out with some airbrush thinner. And then I'm going to mix it up here and see what kind of result we get. If you add too much, you're gonna get a really pinkish tone, and you don't wanna do that. You just wanna get it slightly lighter red than what you'd have on the suit. And so as you can see, that right there is probably gonna be just fine. And I like to use an off-white, because if you use a solid white or a pure white, it's gonna be too stark looking. So it will definitely show up a lot pinker than what you would want it to be. So food for thought. All right, so here we go. I did do a little test right here on the color that I wanted to use on the belt, and I'll show you the mix on that here when we get ready to do that part. But now I am ready to start doing a little bit of highlighting, and what this is gonna do is I'm just gonna hit on some of the raised edges right here, like basically where the light would hit. And then I'm gonna go back in and do some deep shading on this and really bring it out. But I'm working from light to dark on this one here, because I wanna see what I'm up against. I don't want it to radiate too lightly within the suit, but when I hit that deep shading and stuff, it's gonna look darker than what it is. So that's why I'm using the light color first. So for the deep shading on the body, I'm using a burnt red with just a drop of black to darken it up a little bit. All right, so this is what we have after all of the deep shading and the highlights. And I have not sealed this, so it'll actually accentuate the colors a little bit more, make them a little bit more vibrant when it comes out. But as you can see, that light highlights that we put in there comes back just a really faint red. It's not too pink or anything like that, and it shows a lot of depth within the muscle tone. And I'm not too concerned about the back, even though I did the back, because the cape is basically going to be covering all that up. Now the next thing I'm going to do on the torso is I'm going to use this pearl purple here and this pearl white. I'm going to mix a little bit in with this and get a little bit lighter purple like so, because this one is a little too dark. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the collar, paint the collar and paint the belt here. I've already started on here just to test the color, but I'm going to go ahead and do those. Now I don't think you can actually get these colors anymore. I've had these, I bought on clearance, as you can see. They were pretty cheap. I bought these at like Michael's like 3 or 4 years ago. But if you get a good pearl color, it'll give you a good metallic feel to it and lighten it up a little bit. And this is what you can paint the collar and the belt with. So the only other thing that I'll be painting a metallic purple on here are basically these the gauntlet covers right here and up here on the hands themselves, or on the knuckles or whatever. I'll be painting those that metallic, same metallic purple, and down here on the shin guards right here and right here. Now as far as the boots and the straps, they're going to be a little different than what you see in most Magnetos, Personally, I love Magneto, but I like him to have a little bit more of a darker type of finish to him. Honestly, I just think he has a little bit too much purple, and he's a really kick-ass character, so I want him to look menacing. So I'll probably paint the boots more of a black color here on the heel and on the toe, and I'll do the purple here, but I'm going to do a deep black shading around here. And on the straps, they're going to be a silver or a gunmetal and a black on there. So it is going to look a little different, but I think in the end, it's going to look pretty cool. Let's get to it. So the next thing I'm going to use is this royal purple on the trunks and on the gloves and on the boot tops. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all of the buckles this Vallejo chrome. Alright, so next I'm going to paint the cover to the gauntlet and these little spiky things here and parts on the shin guards right here, this gun metal. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a black wash in this different texture right here like I talked about. And I'm going to dirty up the gauntlets a little bit, put a black wash in them, and on the gloves to give it a little bit of depth, as well as the boots to give it a little bit of depth, and actually into the belt a little bit. Probably do a pin wash inside these little crevices here. Alright guys, I apologize for my voice. I'm still getting over from being sick. But this is the Magneto globe, and as you can see, this thing is pretty big. It is 28 inches from the top of it to the bottom of the base here. Now what I did was I printed this in several different colors of resin. I used a lot of clear, and while it was kind of midway, I actually put some alcohol inks in it to get these colors. I also used, for the purples, I used this Form 183 here from Yusu, which is a water washable resin, but it is a orange purple mix. So this stuff, once it comes out and once I put a clear coat on it and stuff, a lot of this right here is going to morph between an orange and a purple hue. So it's going to be really, really cool. The only problem that I had was I had a big gap right here in the base on this side and a little one right here, and I can't help that. That's just the way the parts fitted together. But other than that, I'm going to take the alcohol inks of blue, and it's going to have a little bit of glitter in it and a little bit of purple, and I'm going to actually morph these colors together. And then I'm going to put a gloss coat on everything and let it shine it back up, and it's really going to be vibrant. And if all works, the design that I'm planning on it, we're going to see it lit up. Yeah, I'm actually going to install some small LEDs, and hopefully we can get some light to it. So let's go ahead and start with morphing the colors onto there. So these are the alcohol inks that I'm going to be using. I got these from Hobby Lobby. They're like $4.99 a piece. They're not very expensive, but these can go straight into your airbrush. You don't need to thin them out or anything like that. This blue here has a glitter in it, and the purple alcohol ink is just a really vibrant purple. And so this is what we're going to be using on this.
Oh yeah, one other thing. If you are considering working with alcohol inks, make sure to read this. It is flammable because it is alcohol ink. So do not operate, spray, or anything like that in any open flames whatsoever because it is flammable. Now, let us repeat. Danger. It is flammable. Do not spray around any open flame or anything like that. Use proper PPE, use proper respirator, use proper ventilation. And I'm not spraying a lot of this, so don't beat me up in the comments. All right, everybody, so I got the first coat on it, and I got it by the open door here with a fan on it, trying to dry it a little bit. But as you can see how it kind of like radiates out with kind of like in beams and sections and stuff. And it just, you know, I'm trying to get different light effects from the different polygons and stuff in there. So one other thing that I did was I had a couple of huge gaps, and just I did not want to start putting a bunch of epoxy and stuff in there. So what I did was I had some leftover rocks for some older models that I just added into here, and it turned out pretty nice. It covered up some of the seams and some of the gaps. But when you print a model like this with these pieces, the way they fit, they're so fragile. As you can see, they're, you know, it's pretty fragile. You're going to have issues with gaps and stuff. There was just no way around it. All right, so the last thing that we're really going to do here is on the base. We're going to paint this right here, a gunmetal gray, and the top up here that you're not really going to see because the globe is going to be over it. We're going to paint this a gray, kind of rocky type of material, and then I'm going to do a black wash on everything, and then we're going to do some detailing like on the rebar here a little bit, and this model will be just about done. So once I have all of the dry brushing done on the base, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use like a little rust here and do some of this on the rebar, kind of detail it up a little bit, and then the base will be pretty much done. And other details that I'll do on the base too. Well, once I get everything sealed, I'll take this metallic color here. This is a chrome from Vallejo. Pour a little bit into my palette, and I'll take this little sea sponge right here, give it a little dab on a paper towel, and then I'll start doing some speckling here, some chipping on some of the metal, kind of give it a little bit of a worn look. You can do this for pretty much all of your metal, just to kind of make it look like it's beat up a little bit. Real good effect. Later on, I'm going to do a video that shows you basically how to use liquid latex for an even better effect. All right, guys, so I hope you got something out of this. Again, I really want this to be kind of a learning channel. If you get it for the entertainment purpose, then that's awesome. But me doing this, I really want painters and printers to really get something out of this, and maybe take something in to incorporate with your models. And if I've done that for one single person, that is the best thing ever. So I do appreciate that. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon group. Without you guys, like I said, I wouldn't be able to do this. Since I've been sick, I have quite a few new patrons. So let's go down the list here. We have Mike, Rob, Libby, Jeremy Myrick, Steve James Kennedy, and Sam. Thank you guys so much for becoming the newest members of the Patreon. And if you would like to become a member of that and learn some of these things behind the scenes and get on our private Discord, there is a link below in the description. We would love to have you over there. And of course, if the Patreon's not for you, then I appreciate the support just by simply watching the videos. So one of my goals for 2023 is to definitely get more involved with my patrons. We're active on our Discord, but I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm actually going to be doing some tutorials that are only going to be available for my patrons, no matter what tier that you're in. And then I'm going to do a little bit more behind the scenes sort of thing. That's going to take a couple of weeks to ramp up, but you're going to get exclusive content just by simply being on the Patreon. And without going further into it and wasting a lot of your time and you clicking past all this stuff anyway, you're going to see a lot of positive things happen with the channel this year. Being sick, I made a list, checked it twice and everything, going over the Christmas holidays, being sick up on the couch, laid up in the bed. I had a lot of time to reflect on these things, and I really think the direction that the channel is going into is going to be a positive one, and you guys are going to be really, really happy with it. There's going to be a lot of more interaction with you, the viewer, and I'm looking forward to it. So I hope you guys do subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, hit that button now and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any future videos. And with that being said, everybody, stay safe out there. Get out and create something. Print, prep, paint, repeat. And it's been a long time since I said that. And until the next video, everybody, we'll see you.